This is the Barbados Today morning news for Monday, November 21st. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. Opposition leader Mia Mottley says it is time for the country's leaders to decide what is to be done about the premier healthcare institution, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Addressing the 80th conference of the UWI, Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, Mottley said for too long the QEH has been a political football, and recent efforts at reform have been largely cosmetic and ineffectual.
We must also address, frankly, the drivers of costs. In other words, we must know what each service at the QEH costs. If we are to appropriately finance an institution, how can we do so if we can't identify the cost of every service? We must be disciplined that where new specialized services are needed, we must acquire them through partnerships with you. Many of you in this class, medical class, constitute some of the most entrepreneurial people of any professional class in this country. And therefore, the notion of partnerships with you is not something beyond the pale. And when we do so with these new specialized areas, we must assess simply what are the cost benefits.
Retired Chief Justice Sir David Simmons says the backlog of court cases is a perennial problem that must be addressed. Sir David was delivering a lecture on sustaining the judicial branch of the government for 50 years after independence. He says while the issue is not unique to Barbados, it is hindering the delivery of justice.
Frank Gibson and the Queen, the CCJ reminded us at paragraph 48 as follows. Quote, the public have a profound interest in criminal trials being heard within a reasonable time. Delay creates and increases the backlog of cases, clogging and tarnishing the image of the criminal justice system. Further, the more time it takes to bring a case to trial, the more difficult it may be to convict a guilty person. Unquote. And with respect to the constitutional right to fair trial within a reasonable time, they said, by deliberately elevating to the status of a constitutional imperative, the right to a fair trial within a reasonable time, a right which already existed upon law, the framers of the Constitution ascribe a significance to this right that too often is underappreciated, if not misunderstood. Unquote.
There is more criticism from the business community for the ongoing go-slow at the island's ports of entry. Customs and immigration officers staged the protest for the second consecutive weekend after pay negotiations broke down last Friday between the National Union of Public Workers and management of the Grantley Adams International Airport. President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Eddie Abed, says their action is hurting business and the tourism sector.
We continue to question the protocol in trying to resolve disputes. Disputes from time immemorial have always occurred. The way that one settles them needs to be looked at. This is 2016. This is a country that's been in recession for over 6 years. This is a country that has one industry that's growing, which is tourism, that the entire country is depending on, and you're going to sabotage that by slowing down the processes at the airport. I find that beyond understanding. I recognize that there are two sides to the story. I recognize that there must be some middle ground, but I also think it's time that we set up some sort of mediation where each side chooses a person and then we have a neutral in the middle and be bound by their decision. We need to start being very professional in how we deal with disputes and not ultimately destroy the country in resolving it. My colleagues at the Bridgetown port and at the airport who are importing say to me that they're frustrated. The process is taking even longer. I've said this many times that the month of November and December represents anywhere between 75 to 80%.
Combermere School will remain closed as a special task force appointed by the Ministry of Education continues to monitor the environment there. The school was closed last Tuesday following the latest complaints of a foul odor which caused teachers and students to experience problems including headaches, rashes and hoarseness. A statement from the Ministry of Education issued yesterday said the Waterford institution will remain closed until the ministry is satisfied that the investigative and remedial work is completed. It also advised parents and guardians of students writing CXC, CSEC and CAPE exams in May and June next year to pay their fees at the finance section of the ministry at the Elsley Payne complex on Constitution Road. The president of the Barbados Road Safety Association is calling for tougher penalties for motorists who are responsible for road fatalities. Charmaine Roland Bowen says too many offenders are only being given a slap on the wrist. She was speaking at the unveiling of a road safety billboard at the Darcy Scott roundabout in observance of World Remembrance Day for road traffic victims.
We need to revisit our penalties, and our sentencing laws, that where we are giving people fines, $3,000 fines, maybe even less, No amount of money can compensate for a life that has been lost. We need, if we need change on our roads and need people to respect our road traffic laws, first we have to make penalties, a deterrent. Set them high so they will deter persons. Start in some cases, where the culpability is high and plus they have aggravating factors to warrant it, start sending persons to prison. Because a fine, and especially a small fine, you cannot place a value on life.
Sports now. Barbados Pride head into the final day of the second round competition against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force with a solid advantage. Yesterday, opener Anthony Aline made his maiden first-class 100 in Port of Spain in the Professional Cricket League. He scored a total of 186 as Pride piled up 317 for 2 declared in their second innings. Shamar Brooks made an unbeaten 76 while opener Omar Phillips got 40. Red Force ended the day on 57 for 3.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
What Maisie, this Christmas will be the best Belgian Christmas for we. Maisie, it is all because Republic Bank just like Santa Claus. Maisie, fix up the kitchen and a new TV we get in. A special time to commemorate. Republic will help you celebrate.
Get ready to celebrate 50 years of independence right through to the best Bajan Christmas ever with a Make It Happen loan of up to $50,000 from Republic Bank. Give your home a good old Bajan sprucer, buy some new furniture and appliances, or take an after-holiday trip to visit loved ones over and away. You could also be one of our lucky winners to share in fabulous prizes. Just visit any branch to apply. Go to republicbarbados.com or call us at 227-2700. We're also available via Skype and FaceTime. Special conditions apply.
In Bajan style, it will be great with Republic Bank.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
We're back now with news from the region. Liat has discontinued service to Anguilla and Nevis after a short-term agreement with Caribbean Helicopters of Antigua expired on Saturday. Liat says it opted not to renew the agreement, which facilitated limited airlift to the islands. The airline says some route rationalization is likely to continue next year, but it will explore the best possible ways to improve the carrier's bottom line. On the international scene, the death toll from the derailment of an express train in India is expected to continue to rise. More than 100 people were killed, and police say that more than 150 were injured. We get more in this BBC report.
Frenzied scenes at the site of the worst train crash in India in 6 years. Army soldiers and police joining rescue workers as they attempt to get to people trapped inside the wreckage of the train. Some survivors were brought out, shaken but alive.
Everything is lost. One is buried under the train. 2 or 3 children are also buried.
The rescue teams often having to work in complete darkness. The damage so extensive that earth-moving equipment and gas cutters have to be used to cut through the mangled remains of the carriages. Medical teams are on standby to take the victims away to the nearest big city, Kanpur. The express train was travelling from Indore in central India to Patna in the east when it was thrown off the tracks early in the morning when most on board were asleep. The impact was so severe that several carriages were turned over. It is still not clear what caused the accident, and an investigation has been ordered.
That's news this morning. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Or you can tune into Channel 99 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news and sports. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good morning.